this occasion. We gather today to celebrate, to reflect, and to remember that we are on land which for centuries has been and still today is, and into the future will be homeland to indigenous peoples. We are grateful to the Ponca tribe of Nebraska for collaborating with Lincoln Public Schools in naming this place and the school to be built here. We look forward with appreciation to an active, continuing collaboration with the Ponca tribe in guiding the educational mission of this school, of this district, and of our community. We have many special guests joining us here today for this special, very special celebration. As I introduce you, would you please stand so that you can be recognized? First, we'd like to recognize any council members from the Ponca tribe of Nebraska. If you would please stand. Thank you for being here for this special ceremony and for your continued support and collaboration in honoring Chief Standing Bear. We also have descendants of Chief Standing Bear joining us today. Would you please stand and be recognized? We are honored to have you with us today. We would also like to recognize the Ponca tribe of Nebraska staff. Would you stand if you're here? There are several representatives from the city and county joining us today. Please help me welcome City Council members Benny Scho, Jane Raybold, and Richard McGinnis. If you're here, would you stand? Probably on their way. County Commissioner Deb Shore. I know she's here. Deb. And I want to thank State Senator Suzanne Geis for being with us today. I don't know if State Senator Patty Pansing Brooks is here yet, but she was also on the list, so thank you for her commitment as well. I'd also like to recognize current and past Board of Education members. Please join me in recognizing former Board of Education members Ed Zimmer, Matt Schulte, Keith Prettyman, and Richard McGinnis. And current Board of Education members Connie Duncan, Don Mayu, Barb Beyer, Lanny Boswell, Kathy Danick, Annie Mumgard, and Bob Rauner. Would you stand and be I'd also like to recognize members of the fantastic folks I get to work with every day, the Lincoln Public Schools District Office Executive Team, Associate Superintendent for Instruction Matt Larson, Associate Superintendent for Business Affairs Liz Standish, Associate Superintendent for Human Resources Eric Weber, and Assistant Superintendent for Governmental Relations and General Administration John Neal. Would you all stand, please? We had a tremendous group of citizens volunteer their time to thoughtfully consider hundreds of community nominations for the name of this school. Please join me in thanking the following community members. And if you would stand, we'll recognize you after every stand. Becky Dunder, Hallie Cruz, Richard McGinnis, Amanda Morales, Cindy Ryman Yost, Malin Sampson, Cameron Sanix, Deb Shore, Felicia Welke, Ed Zimmer, and board members Bob Rauner, Lanny Boswell, and Don Mayu. Would you stand and be recognized? It is always so honoring and so humbling whenever we need a task force for anything that we're trying to do at Lincoln Public Schools. The community response is always unbelievable. I just want to thank the entire community of Lincoln for that. We couldn't do the work that we were doing if we didn't have those kinds of partnerships. So thank you so much for your commitment. Now I'd like to introduce our current board president for Lincoln Public Schools, Connie Duncan.
Thank you. Today's a very exciting day. Today will go down in Lincoln history as we break tradition of naming a school Just look around. Who would have ever envisioned building schools this far out in the outskirts of Lincoln? As my father says, you're building a school by a cornfield on a dirt road? What are you doing? We're doing it. Lincoln's growing, and our school district is growing with it. Here in Lincoln, we love our schools. People move here for our schools and our strong community support. I want to take this special moment to thank the community of Lincoln for your support. Thank you so much. And now it is my honor to introduce Larry Wright Jr., Tribal Council Chairman.
Say hello to my Ponca relatives, and on behalf of the Ponca Nation, I want to say thank you to everyone that was involved with this process and for the consideration of naming this new school after Chief Standing Bear. It's a source of pride amongst our Ponca people, and the honor that in this day and age where many times Indian people feel invisible, to have something like this that will stand the test of time, that recognizes one of our own, the descendants here today, to show that the Standing Bear is still with us, his spirit is still with us, and will forever be a part of this community. And so we're blessed in many ways to be part of this. I want to thank one of our tribal citizens, Felicia, being on that committee and carrying that voice forward and showing how important that is to our people. And the story that Standing Bear represents in and of itself, and his resilience to want to be at home here in Nebraska, to call that our traditional homelands for centuries. And this is just another example of that. We've had statues in his honor, but to have a school, a place of education, really brings home one of the proponents that Standing Bear was. His only son, Bear Shield. Standing Bear wanted his son to be educated, go through the white man's education system, because he knew that that was a key for our people being successful into the future, so we weren't wiped out. And that was the path that his son was on, a different leadership path with education at the heart of it. Unfortunately, with our story, we know that Bear Shield died down in Oklahoma, and was one of the things that made Standing Bear and those that came back with him to come back to Nebraska and bury him in our homelands. And that will forever be part of our story and part of the story for this new high school. It's our commitment from the Ponca tribe, our people, to help continue that story and help in any way that we can continue that story as we move into the future, and help future generations of students that come through this school learn not only about the Ponca tribe, but Indian people in general, and do that in a good way. And we appreciate LPS and their vision and their efforts of outreach and making us part of this. So again, we say we belong. Thank you very much for this honor. And so with that, as we did at the board meeting announcing the name, we want to continue in our ways to honor Standing Bear, honor his descendants, and we have our drum group here that will sing the Chief Standing Bear honor song in Standing Bear's honor, and for all of you for being part of this. And so we would ask everybody to stand as we sing this song. for this honor and the efforts, the outreach for having us be part of this. And again, I want to thank the family members, the descendants for making the trip. We've had some come from over 100 miles away to be here today. And so we thank you all. Thank you.
Please welcome Dr. Bob Rauner, member of the Lincoln Public Schools Board of Education.
The planning committee as part of the committee that helped pick the name. And I actually, again, want to thank the committee members who saw on this. It was a very thoughtful discussion. We didn't know for sure where we're going to go. There was some thought that maybe this might be a controversial choice, a difficult choice, but it was the right choice. And I think sometimes we learn best when we do what's maybe a little difficult, but it's the right thing to do. And I really want to thank Larry for his discussions we had. We had a couple minutes, Larry, talking about like what could the implications of this be? How could it be a teaching opportunity, which is of course what we're all about. And the more we talked with Larry, the stronger our opinions got that this was the right thing to do. And it was great. I think another good thing was that two of our naming announcements brought tears to people's eyes. This is one of them. And they're good tears, and they're for the right reason. And so again, thank you, Larry, the Ponca tribe. We really look forward to working with you as we pick the colors, the mascot, and figure out how do we understand Standing Bear? How do we educate our children coming up about Standing Bear and its legacy? Because he means so much to Nebraska. So I'll just say thank you again, and I think Steve Jones has some closing remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Rauner. Appreciate those comments. Larry, appreciate your comments as well. And to the many guests of the Ponca tribe that traveled as far as from Columbus, from what I understand, to be here today. We so appreciate that very much. Before we move to the groundbreaking, there are many others working on this project, and I'd like to acknowledge their efforts. Thank you, of course, to the Lincoln Board of Education for their continued foresight and long-range planning efforts. They always look forward to our strategic planning process and anticipate what our needs are going to be far out into the future. To the Superintendent's Facility Advisory Committee that continues to further evaluate our needs and how we could best serve our students. The High School Task Force, which seems like a long time ago, laid the foundation by tackling the challenges of student population growth, not just in one area of Lincoln, but over the entire city. The school naming committees, who engaged with our community and thoughtfully considered each and every submission. I want to thank our staff. There have been many, many hours spent to get to this point. Scott Wieskamp and his team have been working with every department to design 2 comprehensive high schools and athletic complexes almost simultaneously, along with an elementary school and numerous renovation projects. Scott, would you just wave, and would you recognize Scott? Tireless work. These are big projects, as you can see over my shoulder. Thank you to our project partners, construction manager, Hausman Construction Company. If you'd wave at the group, we'd appreciate that. And our design team, Clark and Anderson, if you'd wave, we'd appreciate that. Can't ever say thank you enough to our community. Lincoln is just an incredible place, and I mean it when I say it. This is a community that has the highest of expectations for academic and educational excellence, but what separates us from the rest of the country is this unbelievable esprit de corps that when we need help, we need support, this community always responds affirmatively. And for that, I thank our community for their continued support of public education. And then thank you to everyone who's joined us today, both in person and virtually. Now we're going to move over to the groundbreaking to conclude our special ceremony. And I please have council members and staff from the Ponca tribe of Nebraska, descendants of Standing Bear, the Board of Education, join me over here. Let's also get our construction manager and the design team over to assist as well. We'll do the groundbreaking in several groups, and we'll take plenty of pictures. And while this looks like just a shell of a high school, keep driving by, because it'll start taking form very quickly. And I will promise you, with the Northwest High School and Standing Bear High School, this is going to be unlike high schools you've seen before. These are going to be places where kids are not only going to want to come, but they're going to be engaged, they're going to be enthused, they're going to be excited, and the community is going to wrap their arms around something really, really special. So we're excited. excited to see the high schools when they're built out. We're really excited to see, as I just met a third grader that has already picked out her homeroom classroom when she comes up here. This is going to be a real showpiece for the community. As many of you know, with the Beltway, with Lincoln growth, with the fact that we have low unemployment, high quality of living, Lincoln is poised to continue to grow and develop and explode, and we want to be at the front end of that with the schools and facilities that we build. So thank you to everybody that's being here. We'll now begin the formal groundbreaking ceremony.
Excuse me.
He says I should get up there then.
Yeah.
Both sides. I don't know what I was going to say. So after this group goes, we'll have descendants of Chief Standing Bearer do one with Dr. Paul up there, so you guys can get involved in the mix too. So feel free to join. And just want Should I ask them? I noticed there's they're not really in any danger.
All right, everybody, media ready? 1, 2, 3. And flip. One more. 1, 2, 3. All right. Now can we go ahead?
Yeah, so we have descendants from Standing Bearer come on up. They want to be involved, and we'll have. So like I said, grab a shovel if you feel free. We can do multiple of these. You bet I will. I'll hold purses.
You want anybody out? Okay.
That's what I thought too. So don't be shy.
Okay, I'm Felicia. Okay, Felicia Lucky. I think that's, you know my friend before? Yeah, I've heard about
Everybody, look at the cameras. Everybody, pick up the dirt and look at the cameras.
adult residency together here.
Everybody, flip the dirt.
I was on the school meeting.
Let's do it one more time. Everybody, look at the cameras.
Callie, get in there more. Kick Callie in there more.
Yes. Yeah.
Everybody, flip.
Levi, get Callie in there.
Yeah.
Elected officials, yourself, come on. Mindy, we're going to do all elected officials.
I'm getting some pictures.
Yeah. Okay, so let's also do pocket track staff. Let's do pocket track staff. If you want to join in, let's join in this one. Yeah. I was just curious. There you go.
Alright, everybody's looking at the camera. Everybody's looking right in the middle. Alright, everybody's picking up dirt. Look at the camera. And flip. One more time. Picking up dirt. Picking up dirt. And flip. Alright, you guys ready? Great.
Okay, construction team.
I like the photo picture.
Construction team and design team. Design team. Thank you very much.
Aaron.
We're doing construction team, design team. People like that.
Come on. Get up there. Get up there. I'm going to take your picture.
Scott, please stand. Let's stand it.
I've been at the new site for like 20
Alright, everybody's looking up here. We do have some space down here too.
Yeah, squeeze in, guys. There you go.
Alright.
I knew it. When I saw you walking in, I was like, oh,
Everybody's looking here. Pick up dirt. Look at the camera. And scoop, shovel. One more time. Everybody scoop. Pick up dirt. And flip. Fabulous. Thank you, everyone.
Hey, what about volunteers? Citizens?
Volunteers, yeah.
Voters?
If you want to, go ahead.
Okay. Anybody wants to join me?
You got it.
Volunteers, voters, come on. People.
You bet. Any citizen who wants to
Citizen wants to get involved.
we can do it. Anyone who wants to. Oh yeah, just hanging out. That's good.
We'll get you.
Where would you guys like to interview Larry Wright?